This is a special place in Illinois. This is one of our armories of our Illinois National Guard. Abraham Lincoln, President of the United States from Illinois, was a member of the Illinois National Guard long ago. And during the Civil War, when he was president, Abraham Lincoln said, "It is the duty of all of us on the home front to take good care of those who bear the battle and take care of their families." And Lincoln's words, more than 150 years ago, were true then and they're true today. And we're really graced by the presence of our First Lady, Michelle Obama. We want to thank her for coming back to the land of Lincoln. And we want to thank the First Lady. We want to thank the First Lady for her tireless commitment, her commitment that is right from her heart on helping our service members and our veterans and their families all across our country. She, together with Dr. Jill Biden, put together the Joining Forces initiative that inspires all of us as citizens of the United States of America to do what we can to support our service members, support our veterans, and support their families. And last February, at the meeting of the National Governors Association in Washington, D.C., I was honored to be there in the White House with President Obama and with the First Lady. And the First Lady came forward and talked to all the governors about an important need that we have in our country to help service members and their spouses with respect to their occupational licensing. And we're going to hear very shortly from Courtney, who is a nurse who lives here in our state, who understands firsthand what it is to be a military family, to change from state to state in the course of your family's deployment, and also the needs and the challenges of maintaining your certification as a nurse or a teacher or a therapist or a doctor or a lawyer or whatever the case might be. We are honored in our country to have so many volunteers, and our military is an all-volunteer military. And the men and women who serve in our military come forward as volunteers and answer the call to duty. They say, "Here I am," when the call is made. And they are, as the Old Testament prophet Isaiah would say, oaks of righteousness. Isaiah said, "Here I am, Lord. Is it I, Lord? I heard you calling in the night. I will go if you lead me and hold your people in my arms." And I want to say on behalf of all the people of Illinois, and indeed our country, we are grateful to all of our service members and their families for holding us and our democracy in your arms. And that's why we're gathered here today to sign a very important law that was inspired by the First Lady.
As a Navy spouse for the last 17 years, I'm enormously proud of what my husband Joel does. I'm proud to step up and serve in this country in my own way as well. Being a military spouse brings with it some extra challenges, and as a registered nurse, I know that firsthand. I take my profession as a nurse very seriously, just as Joel takes his with the Navy. My time is often stretched thin as I'm trying to run a household with my 5 children, being the best nurse I can be, and also being there for my children and my family when my husband is deployed or in harm's way. In our case, Joel has deployed 3 times, including a tour in Afghanistan. My husband and our family have moved 8 times during his career. Each time we move to a new state, I have to get a new license in order to practice. So the issue of occupational license portability is one of very top concerns we have as military spouses. Moving the family, finding a new home, finding friends for our children, finding new schools, puts a lot of stress on the family. And I, like other military spouses, accept moving as part of the life in serving this country. But when we do move, I can't begin to look for work until I found a home so that I can give the state our new address. Then there's the cost of applying for a new license, the time waiting for another official transcript, providing legal documents from a previous state, fingerprints to file in the state, and figuring out what forms need to be filled out. Even applying for a job cannot happen until we have a new state licensure, and that licensure has to be complete before that can happen. I cannot tell you the number of months I've spent waiting around for licensing paperwork to catch up so that I can continue with my own nursing career. Many of my friends have the same story. Some find the process so cumbersome and difficult that they give up and decide not to work in their profession. This adds so much hardship to our lives. It's also a loss. It's a loss to our community. Among dozens of professions, we're talking about nurses like me who work in local hospitals. We're talking about speech and occupational therapists who care for the injured and elderly, and teachers who educate our children. We're not looking for a handout today. None of us for a second want to change a professional standard that we have for our careers. We're simply looking to be able to provide for our families and continue the careers we love as we serve the country we love. So I'd like to thank everyone here today for helping military spouses like me do just that.
Courtney's story is one that I have heard so many times over these past few years. The story of the teacher who has moved 12 times, taking odd jobs to pay the bills. The story of the social worker whose skills go unused as she waits months for paperwork to clear. The accountants, the psychologists, the real estate agents, child care providers, and so many others who simply want to provide for their families and get back to the careers that they love. But far too often, they're stuck in a web of bureaucracy. And we have to remember who these military spouses are. They're folks who are giving their heart and soul to this country every single day. Every time our country asks them to pick up their families and move across the country at a moment's notice, they do it, and they do it with pride. Every time their spouses are sent overseas for months, sometimes years on end, they hold things together back at home without complaint or regret. And on top of all that, they are some of the best volunteers in their communities. They still find time to participate on the PTA, in their parish council, to support the Little League and the Girl Scouts. So we owe it to these individuals to get this licensing issue right. And that's why Jill Biden and I started joining forces. We made addressing this issue one of our highest priorities. So as Governor Quinn said earlier this year, we worked with the Departments of Defense and Treasury on a report to give states some ideas on how to solve this problem. We went to the Pentagon and we joined Secretary Panetta and General Dempsey to call on all 50 states to address this issue by the year 2014. And again, when our nation's governors came to the White House a couple of weeks after that meeting, we asked them to enact measures in their home states. And today, believe me, I am so proud to report that governors and legislatures across this country have answered this call. Back when we went to the Pentagon, only 11 states had addressed this issue at all, only 11 states. But in the 4 months since then, so just since February, 11 more governors have signed legislation or executive orders, and 7 more have legislation pending. That's good stuff. And we are so proud that in just a few moments, the governor of my home state is going to make Illinois the 23rd state to take action on behalf of nation's military families. Yes. So this is a good reason to come back home, right? So I want to thank Governor Quinn, Senate President John Cullerton, and to all of the Illinois legislators who worked so hard and so quickly to get this done. Because of your efforts, more military spouses will be able to advance in their careers. More businesses and hospitals and schools will get the talented, experienced workers they rely on. And more importantly, more families will have the income they need and the financial security they deserve. So again, this is a banner day, and we have come so far in just these last 4 months, but we know we're not finished yet. We're not finished yet. We still have 27 states to go. So today, right here, I want to renew our call to action for all of the states out there, all of the legislatures all over the country, in the states that have yet to address this issue. I ask you to help us finish this job. This is something we can do. I ask you to look at what they've done here in Illinois and states all across the country, and what you'll see is that this is an imminently solvable problem. This is something we can do. You'll see that there are all kinds of solutions, and you can choose the one that's best for your state. There is no one-size-fits-all solution here. And you'll see that folks from every background and both sides of the aisle are eager to step up and help. And that is really the beauty of giving back to our troops and our military families. It is something that we all agree on in this country. This is one of them. This is a good thing. And it's something we all can support. And that has been the story of joining forces from the very beginning since we launched the initiative. In just over a year, we have seen more than 1,600 companies step forward to hire more than 90,000 veterans and military spouses and commit to hiring at least 170,000 more in the coming years. We have seen associations of nurses and physical therapists and medical schools commit to providing better care for folks dealing with PTSD and traumatic brain injuries. We have seen schools reach out to military students to help pave the way. We've seen everyone from Oprah to Tom Hanks to iCarly, my girl, kids. You know, people, you don't know what iCarly is. And Sesame Street. They have shared the inspiring stories of military families with the rest of the country. And while we do have a long way to go, we're just getting started. So today, I want all of our military families to know that America does have your backs. It is really a country that appreciates and cares about your service. Whether it's fixing this licensing issue or helping you find a job or making sure that you and your family have the health care and benefits you've earned, we are working hard every day to serve you as well as you have served this country. So again, I truly, from the bottom of my heart, I thank all of you here in Illinois for making this possible. I want to once again thank the men and women in uniform and their families for their service, and I look forward to many more days like today in states all across this country. Thank you all. God bless. And with that, I turn it over to the governor, and we can get the bill signed.